Welcome to Portsmouth Insights. I'm your host, Rob Lauer. If you've driven in the Victory Boulevard area, it's hard not to be impressed by all the positive changes that have taken place there over the past decade. And in no place are those positive changes more evident than where I'm standing right now. In 1945, the federal government threw up about 3,000 temporary homes for shipyard workers and called the place Alexander Park. As I said, it was supposed to be temporary, but people were living here into the 1970s. Finally, in the 1980s, the homes were leveled and the area remained vacant for decades. All of that changed in December of 2009 when Tidewater Community College opened its new mother campus right here, the Fred W. Beasley Portsmouth campus of TCC. On today's show, we're going to take a look at TCC and its impact on the life of our city. And we're going to look at one of the beautiful new neighborhoods in the area, Newport at Victory. All that's today on Portsmouth Insights. Welcome back to Portsmouth Insights. With the recent opening of the TCC's Portsmouth campus, the college has entered a new era. And accenting that change has been the recent appointment of Dr. Edna Berry-Cullivani as TCC's new president. Recently, she sat down with us to tell us about the ever-changing role of TCC and community colleges in today's economy.
Certainly, when you look at the history of community colleges in this country, which really only started after the Second World War, when they were conceived as an extension of high school, and it was also in conjunction with the GI Bill when all of the veterans came back from the war to provide opportunities for them to get into higher education. And so the GI Bill was one of the founding emphasis areas to create the community colleges. And so the history of it was, again, as I said, an extension of high school to provide the first 2 years of a college education. And so for many, many years that was the focus, and the change that differentiated the community colleges from the other sectors of higher education, that we are an open door admissions college, meaning that we do not screen applicants based on ACT or SAT scores. We take anybody who can benefit from higher education. And so for many, many years, that was the focus and continues to be the focus, continues to be the mission of the community college to provide opportunities for people to go into higher education who otherwise may not have an opportunity to get into higher education. So from an affordability standpoint, from the open door admission standpoint, many other things that we do differently than a selective university. But what has happened over the last maybe 30 years, and I've been in community colleges nearly 30 years now, there has been a major change in the perception by the public about what community colleges are. And community colleges have become much more comprehensive than just providing the first 2 years of the higher education towards the bachelor's degree. So community colleges today are the first 2 years towards the bachelor's degree, but they are also the providers of education degrees for direct employment, albeit at a very high technical level. And then the third component, what makes the mission of the community colleges today more comprehensive than they were in the original years, is that we also provide comprehensive workforce training to the businesses. For incumbent worker retraining, TCC, for instance, is the largest provider of apprenticeship training in the region. And so we focus on career and technical education, oftentimes in the trade areas, and through apprenticeship programming. So a comprehensive community college today will try to address all those three mission areas. What has also happened, because of the affordability of higher education and access to higher education, community colleges are no longer considered the last resort or the last stop if you can't get in somewhere else. It has become the first choice for many, many. And in fact, the community colleges in this country educate more undergraduate students than all of the other sectors of higher education together. And so from the accessibility standpoint, we are the entree. And years ago, the phrase was coined, we are the Ellis Island of higher education. And, you know, for an immigrant to the country myself, that really resonates well. And so I include it oftentimes in my talks. You know, we are the proverbial as well as the real entree for people coming from different shores, as well as different economic situations, to come to the community college. And so they are oftentimes now the first choice. And in the Hampton Roads area, TCC, as you know, has such a large footprint with 46,000 students that we're serving at our 4 campuses. And at the Portsmouth campus alone, we have about 14,000 students at our new campus there. So it's just a major, major impact. And wherever I have gone in the last 4 months that I've been here as president, it's been just an amazing experience for people, regardless of where I go, who have said, I've started at TCC, I've taken classes at TCC, or my son or my daughter or a next door neighbor or a family member. So we are really a first choice college for many, many people.
Next on Portsmouth Insight, we'll learn about TCC's Workforce Development Program. Stay tuned.
Can you consent with me? Imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read.
So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child.
So let's join hands, book people unite, unearth hidden passion. Come on, we'll have a good time.
One book can be the first thing helps to change a life. People unite.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
Son, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
Welcome back to Portsmouth Insights and our look at Tidewater Community College. TCC's Workforce Development Program is playing a vital role in promoting the economic vitality of the region. Recently, we sat down with Teresa Bryant to learn more about this impressive program. Teresa Bryant is Vice President of TCC's Workforce Development Program, and I'm joining her right now in her office. Thanks for coming on our show today.
Oh, thanks for letting me.
I will admit I knew nothing about workforce development. I went online and I read your mission statement. It says Tidewater Community College is dedicated to sustaining partnerships with business, government, and the community of Southampton Roads in order to promote the economic vitality of the region.
A mouthful.
So in a nutshell, how is that done?
We are the non-credit arm of the community college. We do customized training for companies, any kind of topic that they need for their existing employees. We do open enrollment classes for individuals who want to upgrade their skills to get a better job, or if they're unemployed, a job to start with. Those range everything from the high-end IT certifications like the CompTIA certifications, which are security certification, project management certifications, to very basic continuing education courses like plumbers have to have 4 hours of continuing education every 2 years to renew their license. Or we do basic Microsoft training for people who want to learn Word or whatever. So the range is very, very broad with what we do.
Okay, so this is not just individual students coming in, although they can, but this is also, you have a corporate service division where basically businesses can contact you.
Yes, and we'll design it to fit their needs. Some of the things are very much what we do for open enrollment. Other things are quite different.
So businesses really in the region, they can come to you if they have particular needs and say, we need training in this area, that area. then you develop it.
Yes, exactly. And we work with new companies when they're relocating here. We work with companies that are expanding if they're adding new jobs or new processes. We work with companies that are downsizing too, and that's the sad end of it.
Yeah.
But we do work with those employees to help them find retraining so that they'll be able to get new jobs.
Wow. Now, I was reading online too that Tidewater Community College Workforce Development is your WorkKeys solution provider. What is that?
WorkKeys is a product from ACT, the testing service. And it has 3 components. We can do an analysis of a job for a specific company to see what criteria are needed by people to do that job well. Then there's an assessment piece that you would use with employees or potential employees coming to that company to do that job. And if those align, then you have a pretty good satisfaction that the employee will be able to do the job. If they don't align, there's a third component, which is training that can help bring the employee's skill up to where it needs to be to do the job.
Well, that's great. What are some of the other programs? I know I've looked throughout the list of things and I kept saying boot camp.
Boot camps generally are a week. They might be 35, 40 hours every day. They're very intensive. They're for working people who don't want to take 16 weeks, which is a semester, to get whatever they need to get. They're willing to get up the time, get it on the front end, and be done with it. And so that's popular with particularly some of the IT certifications, with people that have worked in the field for years. They know the basic stuff, but they need to have the certification. That in many cases is a more desirable credential than a degree is in that particular industry. So they come to us to get that intense training to then be able to get their certification and go on and maybe get a higher level job.
So how many students, how many people are involved in this program at this point?
Students?
Or people, how many people are you serving, or are you saying at any given time?
Generally about 6,000 to 7,000 students a year. The amazing thing is we serve over 1,300 employers a year.
Wow.
And some of that's training, some of that's consulting, just going in and working with them on projects or things that they're interested in. Some of that is facilitating services for the rest of the college through the employer. But we serve about 20% of the employers served in the state of Virginia.
Wow.
So I'm really proud of that.
As you should be. So if there is a company out there or individuals that are interested in finding out more about this, where do they go?
They can call us, 757-822-1234, easy phone number. They can look on our website, which is www.tcc.edu/WD for workforce development. Although if you go on the basic TCC website, you can click on workforce development and come to us.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today and telling us about this.
Oh, thank you. This is my pleasure.
This past February, Michelle Woodhouse was appointed as the provost of the TCC Portsmouth campus, bringing to the position an enthusiasm that was contagious, as I found out recently when I sat down to talk to her. Dr. Woodhouse, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, the perception of community colleges because of the recession has really changed. We hear a lot more about community colleges, the role of community colleges. Could you tell us a little bit about how that role has changed in recent years?
Wow, the role has changed greatly. Over the last probably 10 years, you have seen us become much more of a viable alternative for many people. The community college is a place for those that have been displaced workers, and they have the opportunity to come back and to pursue a trade or a different career. But we're also a viable alternative for those who are finishing high school, who really just don't have the funds to go to a 4-year. This is the perfect place to come and to take your general education courses before you transfer to that 4-year institution, and it's much more affordable for the household now, especially with the state of the economy.
Right. You know, I actually did that. I'm from Portsmouth. I went to the Portsmouth campus back many years ago and transferred. But how would the perception of TCC in recent years seems to have changed. Back then, it was you were almost ashamed to say you were going to TCC.
And it was like you were going to 13th grade at Tidewater. I remember.
And that really has changed.
It has changed. I think that, you know, the campus, the college has grown tremendously. And the perception that has helped Tidewater is that the academic offerings, the programs that we offer, the partnerships with UVA, ODU, and things of that nature, that puts us in a completely different light in comparison to other community colleges. You know, take for example the Portsmouth campus. It's unheard of, really, in the college communities to open up a brand new college like what we did here. And I always have to tout the leadership of Dr. Deborah DeCroce, because she was such a visionary leader, and because of her leadership, that really helped shape the perception and the change over the last 10 years of Tidewater Community College. And just really, you think of things like when the Ford plant shut down. We were an alternative for people who hadn't been to school in 25 years that could give them a chance to do something different. And then nowadays, when a student graduates from high school, they can't all go off to VCU or UVA. It's just expensive. And the other thing that really comes into place is it's harder for students to get student loans. Your parents have to be your co-signers in some respects. So many things have changed where it really is forcing students to have to take a look at the community college. And the perception is, okay, TCC is cool. We are going to have a student center. We're just as good as the four-year institution.
Well, this is a beautiful campus.
Oh,
it really
it's a wonderful, wonderful place. I'm happy to come to work every day. That's what I tell everybody.
So what are you really proud of that you've been able to accomplish at your time at TCC? Both before becoming provost and even since you've been provost?
When I first came to Tidewater, I was the Dean of Social Sciences at the Virginia Beach campus. And one of the very first things that I did, which is very unusual, is I implemented the Funeral Services Program. That's an associate degree program, but it was a very comprehensive program because it required you to obtain accreditation through the American Board of Funeral Service Education, but we also had to get it approved through the Virginia Community College system because it was a brand new degree to Tidewater Community College. That's never an easy feat to do in any academic setting, but within 1 year we worked very hard, and we were able to successfully launch an accredited program. One of the things that I'm probably most proud of and that I could talk about all day is a new initiative that we have this year, and that is called the Call to Action Initiative. One of the things that it's very important, and it's all over the literature, and it's the buzz thing now, I guess, in community colleges and in higher education, and that is first-year student success. That is extremely important. Students are coming in, and many are getting their financial aid and so forth, but they're struggling. They're testing into developmental courses and just not ultimately being successful. The federal government has put in new regulations. Their laws are much more stringent as to those who can continue to get money if you don't do well academically. And unfortunately, students were not achieving the academic success that I felt that they needed to achieve here. As a result, the federal government withdrew their funding. And so one of the things that I implemented this year, it's called the Call to Action Initiative, and it really is, it's really about the faculty, the staff, and the students working hand in hand to empower student success at the community college. If you walk around the campus, we have bands, we have posters up that talks about call to action. But really what we did is we did something that I didn't know if it would really work, but everybody has to embrace it. Because if you don't embrace it, and everybody doesn't believe in the same goals, then it really won't work. And so at the very beginning of the school year, I kicked it off with my faculty and staff, and we had lots of fun and activities. We played music, but it's all behind the theme of really waking up, taking a look at the population that we serve, and actually making sure that we are doing what we need to do to ensure that when they first come through those doors and they take those first classes, that we're here for them and that we're providing the support services that they need to be successful. You are coming here for a reason. You've chosen, you've made the decision to come back to school. We have students who've been out of school for 30 years. They are scared to death. And they want to know, what the services are. And we really just had a huge motivational and encouraging and empowering rally for the students, but it's also activities and professional development for my faculty and staff. And it's just not the teachers, it's everybody. It's my security guard, it's my facilities person, but everybody has to come together.
Well, they all play a part in the atmosphere.
They play a complete part. So that's a big one, and it's just evolving beautifully.
I spoke a few moments ago about the beautiful campus, and really this entire part of the city, the whole Victory Boulevard area, has just undergone a tremendous change in the past 10 years. This doesn't look anything like what it looked like the 60, 70 years previous.
And I remember what it used to look like.
I do, yeah. So what role do you see TCC Portsmouth having in the whole area's redevelopment and economically in this area?
Well, economically, we play a huge role. We are the largest provider of undergraduate education in this area, the second largest in the state of Virginia. So that's a major economic impact right there, just not even focusing on the Portsmouth.
And this is the mother campus, isn't it?
This is the mother campus. This is the mother campus. That's good, because most people don't say, don't know the mother campus.
They think it's Virginia Beach or something like that.
That is totally correct. And so I have approximately 1,000 employees that come to work here, and that's bringing an economic impact because
the stores,
they're
the strip malls and
patronizing
things,
the stores. Some are moving here. We have lots of new faculty that we're hiring that are moving to the Portsmouth area.
New housing developments all around the campus too.
That's right.
That were never here before.
So it's just such a beautiful. I always say it's a beautiful merging of personalities in Portsmouth, because the city totally gets the community college, the public schools totally gets the community college, and that makes the working relationship so cohesive and so beautiful when you're trying to implement different initiatives and just come together to develop and implement programs that will help everyone, ultimately in the region. And ultimately, we want to produce good students, good servants who will be able to come back and be productive citizens, ultimately, to me, in the city of Portsmouth.
When we return to Portsmouth Insights, we'll take a look at one of the city's newest and most beautiful neighborhoods, Newport at Victory.
Up to 40% of businesses never recover after experiencing a major disaster. Make a plan at ready.gov/business.
Packers. Viking. Packers. Viking. Viking.
Red state. Blue state. Vegan.
Carnivore.
We come from different places.
Uptown.
Downtown.
Optimist.
We come to different conclusions.
Half empty.
Half full.
But when we live united, we create real, lasting change in the building blocks of life. The education, income, and health of our communities, our families,
united.
Even the person next to us.
Live united.
Real change won't happen without you. So give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Sign up at liveunited.org.
Welcome back to Portsmouth Insights. Overlooking the beautiful new Portsmouth campus of Tidewater Community College is one of the city's newest and more attractive neighborhoods, Newport at Victory. Inspired by the new urbanism movement, Newport at Victory tries to bring the feeling of an old-fashioned neighborhood right into the 21st century.
My name is John Barnes, and I'm the president of Chesapeake Homes. I'm the home builder out at Newport, and I've been building out there for the last 6 years.
My name is Stephanie Nash, and I've lived in Newport for 6 years.
I'm Jonathan Spain. I've lived in Newport this November for 7 years.
Okay. My name is Colleen Smith, and I lived at Newport Homes for 6 years.
I'm David Stark. We've been living in the Newport community since spring of 2007.
Newport really was developed as a traditional neighborhood design concept, which that idea really swept the nation in the early 2000s. So it was really something that was going across the country, trying to get driveways into the rear of the house so that people would live again on their front porches again as they did 50, 60, 70 years previously.
I like the styling of the houses in Newport. The balcony, like our house has the balcony. I love those houses. The arrangement of the block, the way the parking is in the back, so that, like I said, the neatness of the neighborhood are good. We live on the front water part, so I love the water. I moved from Harbor Tower, downtown Portsmouth, before we got married. So I missed my water, but I got water because I live at the waterfront at Newport. So I didn't lose much, but I came from, like I said, Harbor Tower and the waterfront lifestyle. So from that to Newport, didn't lose much. It's a lovely neighborhood, and the whole amenities, again, right by the interstate. Everything about it is one of the best kept secrets in Portsmouth.
My house is big, and I like the area that it is. I'm right across from the lake, from the pond, and the walk area. And I like the walk. I like it because it had the walking area where you can be able to socialize with other neighbors that's in the neighborhood.
What I like about Newport is when I first seen it was the houses. I like how big they were in the layouts of the home. And then now too, I like the clubhouse and the pool area.
I like the fact that it had different amenities like the clubhouse, the pool, and the area was just so nice and neat.
A traditional neighborhood design, the concept is to have the houses closer together so that with big front porches, and bring different architectural styles into the neighborhood. A craftsman look, a traditional colonial look, a Greek a Greek-Roman look, which is a two-story porch. And traditional neighborhood design also mixes different types of housing, single family in one section, townhome in another section, all sharing the same clubhouse and the same common areas, and it just creates a great mix.
The neighborhood itself is very quiet.
Everybody looks out for everybody. Most of the parents that have kids that live out there, they take turns at the bus stop watching other people's kids, or if their parents are not home. It's like one of those old-time neighborhoods. Your neighbor always watches all the kids and stuff, so everybody knows everybody, so it's very friendly, kid-friendly.
The neighbors are very friendly. They allow the children to come over and play with their children.
Having TCC there is definitely a plus, especially if you're planning to, you know, continue your education, and you are, which I am planning to do that. Just went over there this morning. Lovely place, you know, and it, to me, it just have that sense of family oriented. You know, if you know you already have kids that are coming out and that, you know, are anticipating going to college and going to the community college, wonderful place.
There's a beautiful campus. It's right across the street. I can walk to it from my house, and it makes it a better neighborhood. It gives it an uplift, and I like that it's sitting there. It gives the value to our home.
Couldn't be any happier having TCC as a neighbor, and they've done a fantastic job. They're in phase 2. Phase 1 was the first slew of buildings, and they've opened up, and the kids love it. The people that are going to school there, we get a lot of traffic. A lot of people come into our sales office that are going to school there. They're looking to live in Portsmouth while they're going to TCC. And TCC is continuing to expand. They've just started a new building, and I think it's a great location for them, and it's super for us.
Life for me at Newport has been wonderful. Can't say enough. I mean, I just love it.
It's a neighborhood that I would be glad to encourage people to buy and live there, because it's a quiet neighborhood and it's a friendly neighborhood.
If you come to Newport, you wish you would live there. You wish you lived there. That would be the thing, because everybody that comes to visit us wishes they lived where we live at.
You're not home until you moved in at Victory. And once you move in at Victory, let me be the first to say, welcome home.
Well, that's it for our show today. We asked our guests to share with you something they'd like you to know about Portsmouth. Let's hear what one of them had to say.
I would like for people to know that I think the public schools in Portsmouth is first rate. When I came to work for Portsmouth, I came from the Virginia Beach community, but prior to that, I worked for Chesapeake Public Schools. And oftentimes, I feel that Portsmouth Public Schools gets a bad rap. But since becoming the provost of Tidewater Community College, I've had the opportunity to interact with the superintendent, the assistant superintendent, the principals. They are first rate, and the things that they are doing in their schools and how they're partnering with Tidewater Community College It's first rate. It's just not done at the other community colleges.
Well, there you have it. But don't take her word for it. Come to Portsmouth. See what all the talk is about. I'm Rob Lauer. Join me next time for another episode of Portsmouth Insights.